Hi guys, today I'm going to talk about apple. Yes, that tasty fruit. Actually, I'm not a big fan of apples. Terrible jokes aside, I am actually talking about the one, the only Apple computers, Apple Inc., whatever their official name is now, because they recently released some new products and, you know, they've been around for a while and Tim Cook has settled in and, you know, at first I wasn't a huge fan of him. I think he's doing an alright job. But the point of today's video is not about what they've released, about what Tim Cook has done. It's about, are Apple overrated? So before we delve in really, we need to first of all understand what overrated is. I'm sure you know what overrated means, but let's just set out a clear definition so that you know where I'm coming from. So the way I would look at overrated is the ratio of done to credits done is quite low. You've actually done less than you're credited for doing. So how do you measure that? Well, with Apple it's quite difficult because when you look at it, has Apple ever invented anything? There are many videos out there. Tek Syndicate has a fantastic video on this where he basically goes over the fact that all of these nifty features and ideas on Apple computers and phones and every other product they've made, none of them are inventions per se. So even the magnetic power for the laptops charging, that's been around a long time before then. So Apple technically, I don't think there's anything they've actually invented. So then you could say, well, they're overrated because people say they invented the smartphone, the tablet, they invented the idea of the personal computer being mainstream, and they invented, you know, whatever, anything they've made. Oh, it was the first, or it, you know, people genuinely think that there weren't smartphones before the iPhone. Now, obviously, that's not true, but does that mean they're overrated? Well, the problem is I don't think they are, because when you look at it, let's take smartphones for example. iPhone, the original iPhone, 2007. If you look at smartphone sales in 2006, the year before, you can see that smartphone sales were fairly low. In 2007, it definitely picks up. 2008, not a huge increase, but you can see over time there is a definite increase, and that can be accounted to the iPhone. So Apple are able to spark an industry. So the way I look at Apple is other companies like LG or Samsung, whoever you want to call, they are like the fuse. So imagine it's a fireworks display, right? So LG, Toshiba, HP, all these different companies, they lay the foundation, and then Apple is that, you know, the lighter or the matchstick, and then they set it off, and then boom, the industry explodes. That's how I look at it. Now obviously not everything they've done has been a massive success. And so the thing about Apple is they don't invent things, but they do, I guess I could say, invent industries almost. Like the smartphone, the industry didn't really exist. It did, but it was like an egg, right? And then Apple hatched the egg, kind of. Maybe I'm overrating them by saying that, but I think a lot of areas, you just look at many examples over and over again, iPad, iPhone, the same thing happens again and again. You know, there are companies trying, and then we get tech news saying, it's not working, it's a failure. Apple do it, and generally, not only do Apple succeed, but their competition also do actually benefit. So if you look at smartphone sales for Samsung before the iPhone and after the iPhone, in fact they actually do increase. So Apple is helping the industry as a whole. So in conclusion, I don't think Apple is overrated. I mean, I do think that when people, you know, say, oh my gosh, they invented this, and you're like, no they didn't. that they are overrated in that sense. But then when we, or the tech industry, or tech people say, oh well, they didn't really invent anything, I think we underestimate the power of innovation, iteration and evolution. You need to credit the evolution of stuff, because the humans today wouldn't exist without it. So instead of saying, well, we give all the credit to the bacteria at the beginning, but yet you probably should give them a lot of credit. Right? Without them we wouldn't exist, right? Without these companies, HP, etc., building the first smartphone, would Apple see the need? I don't know on that. Maybe they would, but there's no examples I can think of where Apple have released something new and it hasn't been done before. So you get those little tinkers, right? But without that, I don't know, that ape or the monkey really, without that transferring to the monkey, if they never became the monkey, they would have never become the human. So really, Apple are of the same importance as those first original bacteria, because yes, that bacteria allowed the monkey to exist, which allowed the human to exist, but that bacteria could have never become the monkey, never became the human. So, you know, a very bad analogy for describing how I think you really shouldn't underestimate the importance of what they have done. To conclude, I do want to mention something though. I think Apple recently, I'm not a huge fan of their innovations. The iPad Pro is clearly a reaction to the Surface Pro, but I don't think it really is competition to the Surface Pro. Yes, it will compete with the Surface Pro, but if we do a head-to-head comparison, I don't think there is any comparison. I think the Surface Pro is clearly a better product, not just for the price. Even if the Surface Pro was considerably more expensive than the iPad Pro, you can do legitimate video editing, advanced spreadsheets, all of that stuff on it. It also has laptop grade specifications. The iPad Pro, yeah, it's got pretty good GPU, CPU. They're still mobile. There hasn't obviously been a comparison between the performance of that and the Intel, but just looking at it, I think one is a laptop, one is a tablet. What I'm trying to say is, whilst I don't think the iPad Pro will be a failure, I think, unlike the iPhone and the iPad, where they were actually a major improvement on what was before, I actually think the iPad Pro is not as good as the Surface Pro, but I still think it will succeed, and I think it will be able to spark interest in the 2-in-1 category. I think it is fair enough to say without the iPhone, without the iPad, the technology industry today would not only be very different, but I think it would be much further behind. And so, do you agree with me? Probably not. If you don't, or if you do, which is rare, you can leave your comments and thoughts down below, or you can tweet me at MrBD9 on Twitter. Thanks for watching. I apologise that I don't upload very frequently, and I hope to see you again soon. Well, soon meaning whenever I next make a video. Adios.